No ribbons? Full live action, fully rendered and full motion? Yes, I am finally back to normal, which means... finally a review on my own. Nice and secluded.
What about me?
Who said that?
Down here. Further down. There you go.
Who are you?
I'm your girlfriend.
I have one of those?
Just about, yeah.
How long?
2 years.
My god, that's longer than any project I've ever had done. So what do I do with you?
What do you mean?
Well, why are you here?
To do a review?
You can't do a review.
Well, why not?
Well, for one thing, no one can see you.
That's why I got this!
Fine.
Yay!
My god, you're sharp. Hello everybody, my name is Nick Stone and welcome to Nick's Random Reviews, the show that tries to be as creative as possible but can't really stick to a weekly schedule. This week I am joined by Kaitlyn Rose here and she's going to make me review what? She's going to make me a review for the PlayStation 1, although it was on the N64 as well, PowerPuff Girls Chemical Extraction.
But with an X instead of E.
Oh yeah, I have to write words for you as well, don't I?
Yep, I suck writing words for another person.
Yeah, but I could just do this.
Whoa, stop that!
Clever. Okay, well, seeing as you're here, you can do the intro and talk about the game.
Very well, watch and learn.
I am watching. I'm not learning anything. Schedules.
As we were saying, this is PowerPuff Girls Chemical Extraction. As anyone born in the 90s should know, PowerPuff Girls is one of the greatest cartoons on Cartoon Network, and on TV in general. Created by Craig McCracken, it was the action-packed adventures of three supergirls called Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, who protected the city of Townsville from monsters and villains such as Mojo Jojo, Fuzzy Lumpkins, and...
Ew.
Don't do that!
Why? It's his voice.
Okay. But with the success of the series comes lots and lots of merchandise, and this game in particular is an example of bad merchandising, much like most games based off shows and films, except Toy Story 2.
And the Super Star Wars and Dragon Ball games.
And the first Rugrats game.
Oh, and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
And I guess Disney and Finn...
We don't say that out loud. Created by Viz Entertainment and released in 2001 on the N64 and PlayStation 1, Chemical Extraction is a 3D fighting game similar to Power Stone on the Dreamcast, where you play in a small environment and must use your abilities and available items to defeat your enemy. The game centers around the girls baking a pie like any other sane person would, until Bubbles decides to add some chemical X into it and setting it on the windowsill to cool. Because that's what I do with contaminated baked goods, leave them on the windowsill for anyone just to consume. Next thing you know, Mojo Jojo just so happens to be conveniently standing there waiting to take the pie.
Little do the Powerpuff Girls know that I, Mojo Jojo, am sitting out here spying on them. And in my spying, I spied a pie. And not just any pie, a chemical X pie. Now I, Mojo Jojo, will steal the pie with the chemical X.
Does he always have to say dialogue out loud or anyone can hear him?
I think everyone has just become so bored of his voice they cut it out as soon as they hear it.
Kind of like when people hear your voice.
Anyway, Mojo Jojo takes the pie and runs back to his lair where him and a collection of other supervillains chow down and take in the powers of Chemical X. Once doing so, they use that to take over Townsville and attempt to defeat the Powerpuff Girls. Or in this case of the game, the Powerpuff Girls breaking into their homes and assaulting them. Kind of like that episode where the Gangrene Gang does prank phone calls to the girls to beat specific villains up for no reason. Except it's about pie, which can't be justified.
Of course it can be justified, it's theft. After all, they did all take a slice of the pie.
But it was Mojo who took the pie, not them.
Maybe they found out it was all of them?
I would go with that, but this is the Powerpuff Girls, not Batman. And in some of the stages, they haven't even committed any crimes yet, and they just waltz in and kick their teeth in. That's kind of fought crime 1984 stuff, down with the rebels type attitude.
Yeah, let's just turn a children's game into a political debate. I mean, sure, they'll love to hear that one.
It's the internet. Everybody loves hearing this. They're always trying to find some sort of political meaning or some sort of discrimination in cartoons, mainly from my childhood. Apparently a lot of them involving paedophilia and discrimination of the black people, but you know how it is. That's why the new Powerpuff Girls series is less about violence and more about going to school and being good girls.
Apparently it's being progressive.
Exactly. But of course, we're not going to talk about that. If you want to see that, Hot Diggity Demon did a pretty good review of it, so, I mean, it's self-promotion for him, but...
Pretty good segue then.
It's a good segue, yeah. Continue.
Okay. So the gist of the game is, you visit different locations in Townsville and battle whichever villain is currently living there, leading up to the final battle with Mojo Jojo. The first downside to this game is that it is really short. You only get to fight 6 villains as a whole, and in order to get to the final boss level, you have to trail through the game 3 times, using each of the Powerpuff Girls, which is incredibly dull, as the villains don't really vary in difficulty or order, so it's pretty much the same levels again and again, except with a different Powerpuff Girl each time, giving you the belief in progression.
And it doesn't stop there. The girls have the exact same attacks, and only when you've completed their section 100%, you then get a personal attack for each one, which is pointless because the replayability of this game isn't worth it, considering it only takes 30 minutes, and after that you have 2 other characters to play, so what's the point of playing with the already existing character that you've completed with? Regardless of who you choose, the order will be as such. Big Billy at the mayor's office, Seducer, can't do the accent, at the bank, Princess at Pokio's kindergarten, my god that's a mouthful, Fuzzy Lumpkins at home, Ace in the junkyard, and Mojo at the observatory. So the only reason you play this 3 times is just to be totally suckered in at the false hope that the characters may be different, or either that you want to face him at the end, where maybe, just maybe, their new special attack could become useful.
And even then you have to deal with the ridiculous controls and terrible hit detection, while at the same time being stuck in these cramped environments, where if you don't time your jumps or attacks right, you can be pushed into a corner and wailed on as, much like me, press every button possible in a flailing-like manner. Fuzzy, Ace and Mojo are perfect examples of this. The environments are so cramped and absolutely filled with hazards that it's an absolute nightmare to work your way around, especially when they're using every item available to throw at you, and you don't even have the time to avoid their abuse or even throw anything back.
And I just have to say this, that if I ever see a spray can, I will shove it up that person's because Ace is the biggest this side of Townsville, because when he gets it, he's able to take a ton of your health without even trying, and your only option is to run like the coward you are.
Anything else you'd like to get out?
Oh, good, yes, of course I do. And Mojo, that poo-throwing son of a your only strategy to beating him is making sure you throw items before he does, because if you lose your ground in that area, he will just throw and throw at you until he gets enough chemical X and just takes you out instantly, which is such a cop-out because you should be allowed to kick his teeth in, not just throw stuff at him like it's a domestic disturbance. Some people would call this a difficulty curve, but if you have to resort to rinse-repeat tactics and spam as much as you can, then you're not really enjoying the game, you're just trying to get through it so you don't have to face it again.
And we actually found out that depending on which console you play the game on, the controls react differently, which changes the entire gameplay. When we played this game on the PS1, it was a lot smoother. The synchronization of buttons to command was a lot quicker, even if the villains were still major bums.
And we actually found out that when you play on the PS2, the controls are 10 times worse. And sometimes the actual synchronization doesn't even happen, and sometimes you'll just be pressing a button continuously and it doesn't react or do anything. So you either, and believe me, we tried this with 2 different control pads, and one is newer than the other, so it must have changed the entire gaming experience when it came out, because remember, when this game came out, the PS2 was fully released and people were just dumping their PS1s like they were nothing because of course the backwards compatibility, so that must have really affected the feedback as well, apart from the fact that obviously the game is pure garbage.
If it was bad with that controller, can you imagine what it was like on the N64?
I can imagine how bad it would be on the 64, especially with that third tumor of an arm it had. It must have made navigating around that section so difficult, especially the fact that you would have to use the analog stick, and that game is terrible with that, when you should have really just used the D-pad. It is awful.
Is there actually anything good about this game?
The use of voice actors and a selection of villains in general?
That's true. Despite how everyone expected to battle Mojo and him, having 2 members of the Gangrene Gang and other minor villains was actually really fun to battle against, creating a more varied cast of villains, which leads nicely to the epic battle against him.
And the concept was a pretty interesting idea. I think if they took more time with it and actually looked at successful games that use this construct, they might have had a better experience.
Perhaps some multiplayer ability and possibly co-op?
Oh yeah, then it could have been like Fighting Force in the PS1, and you could fight in areas and move on to others, making room for more villains.
Then they could have put the Rowdy Rough Boys and you could have fought them before you went on to battling Mojo.
But sadly that isn't that game.
No, it isn't.
It's bad.
It's awful.
Don't buy it.
I bought it.
That was your mistake.
Yeah, it was actually. Can we get on with this review now?
Whenever you're ready.
And Star Wars!
No. So that was Powerpuff Girls Chemical Extraction. A game that had so much potential, but as always, with most things on this show, it falls flat on its
But with its controls, difficulty curve, and lack of space within areas, there's absolutely no point buying this game, unless you want to go for 100%, in which case you're only looking about 2 hours of gameplay.
And if you are looking forward to buying it, I don't know why you would be for a start, it's a terrible idea of yours, and I would just not recommend even paying anything more than £3 for this game, because it is not worth the effort, not even worth the full price it was released at. And I believe anybody who bought that game when it came out, I am so sorry for your loss. I'm sure you could have bought many interesting things. Tomb Raider, could have bought Tomb Raider, not Legends. You could have bought Tomb Raider, any of them, but Legends, 'cause that's a remake. You could have bought some stuffed crust pizza. Actually, the real things that are, you know, sugar, spice, and everything that, well, maybe not them too. Well, you can get spiced in stuffed crust pizza, nice herbs, and that's not a spice. That's not a spice.
Pineapple's sugar though.
But like,
who puts pineapple on a pizza?
We're not having this discussion. So yeah, but like, you know, you could add like the real stuff nice. You know, like, you know, unicorns. Obviously, because you have to drink their blood and become immortal. That's a Harry Potter reference. Note it down. And yeah, words.
What if they want to know what the game's like, but they don't actually want to buy it?
That's a very good question, girlfriend, who I didn't know existed until today. If you like and subscribe to my channel, we'll be uploading a Let's Play later in the week, where every day we'll have a 10-minute video or more of the actual game itself until it's actually completed.
Sounds pretty simple.
It would have been even simpler if I hadn't forgotten how to say that line properly, but it gets better. If you actually want us, or me, specifically me, not her, me, depending, if you've got a contract, not yet, I don't get paid anything either, you can actually suggest anything you like for me to review by commenting below, and of course it'll be added to the list of many things to look at. But until then, thank you as always for tuning in. My name is Nick Starwind.
And I am Kaitlyn Rose, and once again, the day has been saved.
No. Bye!
Of course it could be justified, it's theft.
I was like...
You just got wrong with it.
Start again. What was it like? I was like... Start again.
Stop it. This is